All right, get ready for this one, folks, because today we are going deep down a philosophical rabbit hole.
Oh, sounds fun.
We're going to be tackling the idea that no one can harm you but yourself.
Intriguing, right?
Yeah, and I think before anyone listening writes it off as like, just another self-help cliche or whatever,
Right.
it's important to realize that this idea is rooted in some pretty heavy philosophical thought.
That's right. We're talking Socrates and the Stoics here.
Big names.
Yeah.
So for this deep dive, we're going to be basing our entire discussion on one single YouTube video.
Okay.
The title itself is pretty bold. It's called "You Are the Only One Harming You."
Wow.
And it's from a channel called Accepting the Universe.
Okay.
And it really digs deep into this whole idea, pulling from some of the biggest names and thinkers in history.
Yeah. So I think the core concept here that we're going to be talking about is that true harm.
Yeah.
It's not something that's inflicted on your body
Right.
or your possessions,
Right.
but on your moral character. That might sound kind of abstract, so I think it would help get into some specifics.
For sure.
So the video uses some great examples.
Yeah, I liked that analogy of stepping in mud.
Yeah.
It talks about how, even on an important journey, sometimes you just got to step in the mud. It's
Yeah.
messy, it's uncomfortable.
You get dirty.
You get dirty, but it's necessary to reach your destination.
Yeah, and I think that's a great illustration of the Stoic idea
Mm-hmm.
that your physical body is just a vessel.
Right. A corpse, as the video puts it.
A corpse, that's right. And what really matters is your mind, your soul, your true self.
Right.
And that part of you chooses the path and understands the bigger picture.
Okay, so if this true self is untouchable, then what about all the bad stuff that happens in life?
Yeah.
I mean, violence, natural disasters, loss, surely those things cause real harm, right?
Well, I mean,
It feels kind of dismissive to just say, no, they don't.
yeah, I mean, I get that reaction. And to be clear, the Stoics weren't saying that these things don't cause pain and suffering.
Right.
What they argue, though, is that these events, they only affect the outer shell.
Okay.
What happens to us, not who we are at our core.
I see. So are they saying then that our choices don't matter?
Well, I'm not
If the external world can't touch our true selves, like, does that make us just passive observers in this whole cosmic play?
No, not at all. In fact, the Stoics were huge proponents of taking responsibility for our actions.
Okay.
But here's the key distinction, I think.
Yeah.
While external events are often beyond our control,
Right.
our reactions to them
Yeah.
and the choices we make,
Yeah.
those are within our power.
So it's about focusing on what we can control,
Right.
our thoughts, our actions, our responses,
Exactly.
rather than getting bogged down by the things that we can't.
Exactly. And the video makes this point really clear with that quote from Socrates, where he says, he can strike me, he can kill me, but he cannot harm me.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It really drives home the point that, no one can force us to compromise our values.
Mm-hmm.
Even under threat, we still have that power to maintain our integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but let's get real for a sec. How does this actually play out in the real world?
Yeah.
If someone cuts me off in traffic,
Right.
am I really just supposed to smile at them and be like, "Hey, no harm, no foul. My true self is A-okay."
Well, you could try that, but I don't think it would go over very well.
Probably not.
But the Stoics, they weren't suggesting that we become emotionless robots or anything.
Yeah.
They acknowledge that, yeah, anger, frustration, even sadness,
Mm-hmm.
those are real emotions.
Yeah.
The key is not letting those emotions control us.
Okay, but how do we do that? This whole untouchable self idea
Yeah.
sounds great, in theory, but how do I actually apply it when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed or, just plain angry?
Right. Right. Well, the video touches on a few practical techniques that the Stoics, they recommend.
Okay.
For example, spending time in nature.
Okay.
The Stoics were big believers in the restorative power of the natural world.
Okay.
Seneca, actually, he was one of the most famous Stoics.
Mm-hmm.
He would often retreat to the countryside to write and reflect.
Mm.
And he saw this as a way to reconnect with his true self and gain perspective.
So it's like hitting the reset button, kind of.
Exactly.
Getting away from the chaos of daily life and
Yeah.
reconnecting with something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And another technique that's super helpful is journaling.
Oh, yeah.
Just taking a few minutes each day to write down your thoughts and your feelings.
Yeah.
It can be incredibly clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
and it can really help you process what's going on, internally,
Right.
and make more conscious choices about how you want to respond to external events.
The the video also talks about the importance of focusing on virtue
Yes.
instead of getting caught up in like the pursuit of wealth or status or pleasure.
Right.
The Stoics believed that like true happiness comes from cultivating inner qualities.
Yes.
Like kindness, honesty, justice.
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting, I think,
Yeah.
because those virtues are always available to us, no
Hmm.
matter what our circumstances are.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need anyone's permission or any external resources to be kind, to be honest,
Yeah.
to act justly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So in a way it's incredibly empowering.
Yes.
Because it means that we're not at the mercy of like
Right.
fate or external circumstances when it comes to our own happiness.
Right.
We have the power to cultivate those virtues within ourselves.
And those virtues aren't just some abstract ideals either.
Right.
They have a very real impact on our lives.
Mm.
They make us better friends, better partners, better colleagues, better citizens,
Yeah.
better humans, really.
This reminds me of that example from the video about the thief
Oh, yeah.
and how it argues that the thief actually harms themselves by becoming a thief,
Yes.
regardless of whether or not they get caught or face any external consequences.
Right. The act itself damages their moral character,
Right.
which ultimately harms them more than any external punishment ever could.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It shifts the focus from like the external consequences
Yeah.
to internal ones.
But hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Isn't there a danger in taking this too far?
Oh, how so?
Like if I'm the victim of a crime, am I really supposed to just be like, well, the perpetrator has only harmed themselves, so, I'm fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't really seem fair.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Like, where's the justice in that?
It highlights the nuances of this whole philosophy, for
Yeah.
sure. The Stoics weren't saying that we should, like, condone harmful actions.
Right.
Or pretend that they don't have real consequences.
Okay.
But they were encouraging a shift in focus.
Yeah.
Instead of dwelling on what's been taken from us or what we've lost.
Mm-hmm.
What if we concentrated on what remains?
Okay.
What if we focused on our own response,
Right.
our own choices,
Yeah.
our own commitment to virtue?
So it's not about like denying the reality of the situation,
Right.
but like choosing how we react to it.
Exactly.
It's about finding that inner strength to rise above the circumstances, even when they're incredibly difficult.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that even when like terrible things happen,
Yeah.
we still have the power to choose who we want to be in the face of them.
So circling back to the beginning of our deep dive,
Okay.
can external events really not hurt us?
Well, the Stoics would argue that true harm is only inflicted on our character, on our virtue. And those are things that are ultimately within our control.
That's a really thought-provoking idea.
It is.
It suggests that even in the face of like, great adversity,
Mm.
we have a choice
We do.
to let those experiences break us
Yeah.
or to use them as opportunities for growth and transformation.
And that's a message that resonates really deeply.
Yeah.
Even centuries after the Stoics first, articulated it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that true freedom and happiness, they come not from external circumstances,
Yeah.
but from cultivating inner strength and virtue.
Okay, so what does this all mean for us? The non-philosophers just trying to navigate the ups and downs of daily life.
Right.
How can we actually apply this seemingly abstract philosophy to our own experiences?
Well, it's about finding those small, consistent actions
Okay.
that help us to cultivate that inner strength and resilience. It might be taking a walk in nature,
Yeah.
spending a few minutes journaling,
Yeah.
practicing mindfulness,
Right.
or simply reminding ourselves of the things that we can control.
So it's not about like, becoming a Stoic scholar overnight,
Right.
but about integrating these principles
Right.
into our lives in a way that feels authentic and meaningful.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you
Right?
and making it a part of your daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
The Stoics believed that philosophy wasn't just an intellectual exercise.
Yeah.
It was a way of life.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Okay.
And to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to to explore the source material for yourselves
Yeah.
and see what resonates with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're curious to learn more about this fascinating philosophy, we highly recommend checking out the full YouTube video from Accepting the Universe.
Yeah,
It's called You Are the Only One Harming You.
that's right.
And it's a great starting point for anyone who's interested in exploring Stoicism.
So until next time, keep diving deep.
Yeah.
Keep questioning
Virgin.
and keep seeking those nuggets of wisdom that can help us all navigate this complex
Right.
and ever-changing world.